Oh, yeah. We're back.
Again?
Yeah, lock your doors.
Hide your coon dogs.
Yeah, hide your coon dogs. Listen for police sirens.
Yeah, and fire trucks.
And fire trucks.
Oh, good morning or evening or whatever time it is out there, everybody. Glad you're here.
We're excited to be here. Yeah, with another edition of the Southern Fried Podcast. I'm Dave, and this is Robert, and we're glad you're here. We've had some exciting programming, and this one is another edition of Momma Said. This is a regular theme of ours. We're going to have regular programming on Momma Said. And Rob, there's just lots of things that Momma said, so we're gonna tackle one of those tonight, and I think it will resonate with a lot of people, especially when you were growing up. And you probably, folks listening, you probably say it yourself, especially if you've had children. Excuse me. And Robert, that is when our mama said, "Because I said so," and sometimes she said it just like that, "Because I said so." So let's dive into this right away. I love this one. I love it because I know that not only did I hear it a lot of times, but I have said it. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of parts to this. Not going to take a long time, but I do want to dive in and talk about a little bit of it. Let me set a scene for you here, Robert, which I think you can probably appreciate, and I want to hear your input on this. But it is a powerful saying. That saying has a lot of power behind it. It is intended to be, Robert, the shut up and don't say another word. It's just to cut you off because I said so. So in my case, if my mom ever said, if I asked her, well, why, or whatever the situation was, and my mom said, because I said so, there is that part of me that when I was growing up, that every child has it, I'm sure. You get a little, you start trying to think logically. You get a little, you get a little bit like a lawyer, like an attorney, and you want to question your parent about, well, why does that supposed to end this? I mean, why does that end the discussion? And because that's the intent. Because I said so is supposed to stop all discussion. You're done. So to back that up, when Mama said, when she said, because I said so, in my case, my daddy would back that saying up in a very particular way. Because my dad was a man of few words when it came to back and forth. In fact, you didn't really have negotiation at all. With Mom, you could a little bit. So if Mom said, because I said so, if I questioned that, Dad had this thing he would do where he would reach for his belt. And for all those listeners that remember, I'll just use the example Gunsmoke. You know, Matt Dillon was quick on the draw. If the bad guys, most of them would even say, you don't want to try him. He's fast. He's fast on the draw. You're not fast as he is. And so a lot of times in the show, which honestly was meant to be against guns, I get it. But they didn't even pull the gun because they would say, he's so fast, you don't want to do it. And even Matt Dillon would say, you want to go for it? You want to do it? Do it. That's, because you're going to be 6 feet under, or something like that. Yeah. Well, my dad, it was the belt. And if my dad reached for the belt, that was the only signal you got after because I said so or anything else. That was your cue to stop all negotiation, all resistance. Resistance is futile, as we might say, because Dad would then, if I offered up any resistance, any question, it could even be a smirk, the belt would come off. He had this thing he could do. My dad was this one-handed thing where he could unbuckle his belt and whip it out like a whip. It was as fast as Matt Dillon drawing the 6-gun. And if he drew, it's like Matt Dillon. If Matt Dillon drew the gun, he was going to use it, right? Well, my dad, if he pulled that belt, and you would hear it go through every loop, it was a big old wide belt. If he pulled that belt out, he was going to use it. Now, he's not going to waste the energy of pulling the. How you might say, Robert, well, how do you know? What do you mean? How do you know that? Because I only tried that once. I tried that once, and the end result was very painful. And so I learned that because I said so could mean pain if I didn't stop the negotiation of, well, I don't think that's right. Just because what gives you the right to say just because I said, you're my mom. I understand that, but I want to talk about it some more. Dad, it was no. Negotiations are over because I said so. What say you, Robert, about this topic?
Okay. Well, number one, I'm still stuck on your dad snatching that belt off. That different image come to mind than Matt Dillon. You know, Zorro used a whip sometimes.
Yeah.
And I could just see that belt coming off. Yeah. You have a Z on the back on your backside there, you know. I can see that.
It was a lot like that.
I'm sorry, it just stuck in my head there.
It's a bad memory for me. So it just
yeah.
You don't push things very much. At least I was smart enough not to do that. But there is a lot of power with that saying because I said so.
Well, my mama, as I said, was a short lady, but she was big. She might have been short and small, but she was big. And when Mama said, "Because I said so," she generally had that little head bob. You know, that short woman head bob. You know, because I said so. And it was over. You know, it was done because I would much rather have my dad upset with me than my mama. Mama, if mama gonna whoop you, it's lights out, dude. Lights out.
Lights out. Well, see, Dad was not because I said so. It was no discussion, no negotiation. I mean, he just said, do it. And if you didn't, then, you got the belt, flying out like a lightsaber or something, but Mom would give you a couple, I could, if he wasn't there, I could get a couple of because I said so. Because I did ask her about that when he wasn't around one time. And I said, what does that mean? Because you said so. I'm looking for an answer. To me, that wasn't an answer. And Mom would say, well, it's just because I said so. You just do it. And she would, I could talk to her about it. But Dad was he was the force that came in and said, you're not to question because I said so. You just do it.
Yeah. And there's something to be said for that, for that whole saying, because I said so. There's something to be said for it. As children, usually, a lot of times, don't understand because I said so, because it's something they want to do. But the parent may have picked up on something that I'm not comfortable with this. I don't want you doing it. I can't really articulate why, but you keep arguing with me. And so now it's because I said so. And as a parent, you probably have run into that. And I guarantee you've said it.
Well, there's no doubt I've said it. And, kids get pretty good at working the angles of what, because they want to do something like you said. And so I got to admit, there's a couple of times that I didn't really have a good reason. There were times, just like you said, that I thought, this doesn't feel right to me. But I don't want to say it because it's in front of another person or kid or whatever. Because I would just say, well, it's because I said so. And then if she, in my case, boys or a girl, boys as far as sons and then girls as far as granddaughters, if I said because I said so, I might follow it up with, we'll talk about it later. I didn't get that from my dad, but I guess that's the mom in me, but I would say, we'll talk about it later. But I got to admit, there were a couple of times, maybe more than a couple, where they actually came up with a pretty good argument. And I really didn't have anything, so I just went there. That was because I said so. And it doesn't, there's no kid on the face of the planet that likes that response. No kid, nobody, because I said so. And actually, we got to admit, it's a powerful saying, because I said so. I think, you got to use it in the right way. You have discussion with your children. I don't mean that in a bad way, But at some point, you have to stop the debate.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of coming up with some bug, because if you give them a reason, they'll work angles on the reason. Well, we'll do this, or we won't do that, or I promise, or whatever it is. When you go to because I said so, they know that means you're digging your heels in. You're like Yosemite Sam. You are not going to budge one bit on that answer. They don't like it, but they know you're not going to change because Mama said because I said so. In this case, it would be. But I've heard my wife say it because I said so, or they might say it like just because I said so, or whatever. It's the same thing. But Mama said it because I said so.
Mama said it a lot when I was growing up. You know, when I moved down here with my grandparents, I could talk about stuff and see this is exact opposite here. My granddaddy, I'd say, hey, I want to do so and so. And they either got a yes or an ask your grandmother. I didn't even bother asking grandma. Grandma said no to everything. Everything. She said no. I want to go do so and so. No. I want to go do so. No. Why not? Because I said so. But Grandpa, I had a chance with. Grandpa would be like, "Yeah, that'll be all right. Y'all go ahead and y'all go camp down on the creek tonight. That'll be fine." Tell Grandma, "We're gonna go camp down on the creek tonight. If that's all right." Nope.
And how many times, Robert, did you walk away thinking in your mind or mumbling under your breath? That was another one. My dad, by the way, he would say, "Boy, don't you dare let me hear you mumbling under your breath." Mom would kind of let it go as long as she didn't hear what I said. But how many of us walked away mumbling or even thought it in her head? I can't wait till I'm a parent because I'm going to say that. This is not fair.
Every time.
Or I can't wait till I'm grown and that phrase has no more power over me. I guarantee you every kid has thought that.
Can't wait till I'm grown and I'll do what I want to do. And now, but then when you get grown, you get a boss. The boss says, I want you to do this way, but I like doing it this way. Why can't I do it this way? Because I said so. Yeah. It never ends.
It never ends. But it is it honestly on the surface level of it, I got to say it seems like a very lame response. Honestly, it does. It's because I said so. It's kind of a lame response. It's something quick. But we have to also say it may be lame, but it's effective, and it is powerful. And I will put it this way, Robert: it's parent power. Parent power. When they go there, they know that just chopped the discussion down to the ground. It's like a tree falling. It's over. You have nowhere to go with it. So some might disagree. If they do, I'd love for them to contact us and let us know. But I can tell you, in my house, when I was growing up, I never got past that phrase. It was over.
So let me advocate this. If you must use that saying, because I said so, use it if you must. But think of more creative ways of saying this. Like, really and truly, I don't think that you have the intelligence to go out and do this like a rational human being. So it probably would be okay if you had the intelligence or such as a rational human being to go out and do this, but you haven't matured enough yet. And I really don't know how else to word that except for that way. If you would be more mature, I would be more amiable to allowing you to do this. And then if it continues on, hit them with, because I said so.
Because I said so. Well, this is a fun topic, Robert.
It is.
I love the Mama says, and do give us your post online or send us in our email or however you can contact us and let us know your thoughts. And hey, we'll include them in a future program. We'll give the counter to it or some additional stories because I think it's a great topic. But Mama said because I said so. This has been fun. We're gonna end this one and we'll have another one soon of Mama said.
Love you guys. and God bless every one of you.